Damn, I really don't understand. Y'all coming for 6ix9ine. I don't know what they gonna say. 6ix9ine got into it with him, put a hit on the life insurance. I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna say. You know what I'm saying? All I'm saying, whatever the situation is foul, man. It's foul, man.
The footage begins almost like any other chaotic appearance from Tekashi 6ix9ine. He's on camera, hair tied back in streaks of neon, his tattoos flashing as he waves his arms and runs his mouth with that same manic confidence that once made him rap's most wanted spectacle. The energy is brash, almost cartoonish. But if we look again now, just days later, there's something else under the surface. He tosses out cryptic little jabs, smirks that feel loaded with secrets, and lines that sound like throwaway boasts until we know what came next. It's the eerie calm before the storm, a man flexing for the camera while already shadowed by a disaster he couldn't see coming. In that moment, we can feel the air thick with tension, as if the threads of his controversial past were already tightening into a noose around someone close to him.
Now, police also told us that an autopsy was planned for Sunday night, and they were hoping to release more information at some point this morning or later today. So we're just waiting on that. As soon as it happens, we'll be sure to let you know.
And then came the news that froze the scene in place. Ariella, lalangosta, the Dominican influencer who had walked beside Tekashi through the glitzy nightlife of New York and even appeared in his Wape video in 2023, was found behind the wheel of her car on the Cross County Parkway. The official word was stark. She was discovered with wounds that left no doubt, and investigators said she was likely targeted for violence. Police didn't mince their language. This wasn't random, wasn't a tragic fluke of being at the wrong exit at the wrong time. Whoever came for Ariella wanted her gone, and they made sure of it. Suddenly, those carefree clips of her laughing in clubs or dancing on Instagram became haunted relics, the echoes of a woman whose life ended in the most chilling of circumstances.
We're still trying to gather a lot of facts from her recent activity leading up to this point. So relatively soon after we discovered the vehicle, that the crime took place a short time before.
The tributes rolled in, as they always do, but Tekashi's hit hardest. He posted his grief online, calling her a tremendous woman and the Queen of New York. He insisted she had supported him in everything and called her my sister. But that word, sister, now sits like a bitter riddle. Was she truly family, or had her closeness to him painted a red target across her back? Because if we follow the threads of Tekashi's long, messy history, we know he's been a magnet for vendettas. He rose to fame through scandal and spectacle, built a career on defiance, then flipped the street code on its head when he testified against the 9 Trey crew. Ever since, he's been branded a snitch, hunted by rumors of revenge, and entangled in grudges that stretch from New York blocks to international cartels. If Ariella was riding in his orbit, was she also riding straight into danger? That's the theory boiling up now. Ariela's last hours trace a path from work at Icon, New York, the buzzing Manhattan lounge where she bartended, to her car in Westchester, and somewhere in between, someone decided her night would be her last. Detectives have refused to release further details, but the language is clear. She wasn't just unlucky, she was targeted. The word slices through every other explanation. Targeted by whom? For what? And how far back does this plot stretch? The easy answer would be that she got swept up in the chaos that forever circles Tekashi. But whispers on the street suggest something darker, something personal, and perhaps even something Ariella herself was hiding.
Yo, so a couple days ago, man, 6ix9ine girlfriend was sitting in the car. This is like crazy, gang.
Here's where the first bombshell rumor crashes in: Ariella's secret ties to a rival cartel. People close to New York's nightlife scene are already murmuring that her life wasn't just flashing lights, high heels, and Instagram glamour. Some claim she had deeper connections, dealings with men who operate far beyond velvet ropes and bottle service. Was she moving in circles where Tekashi's enemies were also lurking? It's a tantalizing possibility. Rival groups don't always go for the loudest target. Sometimes they send their message by striking someone close. Taking out Ariella would not only devastate Tekashi, but remind everyone watching that loyalty has a price. If that theory holds, then her position wasn't just as a friend or sister figure. She may have been a pawn in a war bigger than either of them admitted. But even that isn't the only storm cloud forming. A more poisonous rumor has started slithering across forums and whispered conversations in the Bronx and Queens: the so-called fake sister betrayal theory. Despite Tekashi's heartfelt words after her passing, some insiders claim their bond wasn't as loyal as he painted it. There are allegations, unverified but spreading fast, that Ariella might have been feeding information to his rivals, playing both sides of the feud for her own survival or advantage. If true, it would explain why she was suddenly marked as expendable. A double life in Tekashi's world rarely lasts long, and betrayal rarely goes unanswered. Whether she was trapped, coerced, or complicit, the theory suggests she was no innocent bystander in the shadow games around him.
Y'all crazy, man. Y'all crazy. That's really crazy, man.
The image of Ariella as a beloved nightlife star clashes hard with this darker speculation. On Instagram, she had over 500,000 followers, posting glossy shots in cowboy hats, poolside in Colombia, or dancing under neon lights. Just 10 weeks before everything ended, she captioned a post, "Happy and blessed." That smiling phrase now reads like a ghost note, echoing across her page as strangers flood the comments with condolences. But behind the filters and the curated happiness, could she have been tangled in deals she never fully escaped? Every post looks different once you suspect the person was carrying secrets no camera could capture. Her workplace called her a brilliant, humble soul. Her colleagues described her as an angel of nightlife. But what if even they didn't know the full story? The silence from law enforcement only fuels the fire. Detectives say the case remains under investigation with assistance from state and federal agencies, but their refusal to release details leaves a vacuum. And in that vacuum, speculation thrives. Some are saying Tekashi himself was the real target that night, and Ariella's car was ambushed because the shooters couldn't get to him. Others argue the hit was orchestrated specifically to break him emotionally, stripping away someone he publicly called family. And then there's the cartel angle, that she may have crossed paths with people who don't forgive, don't forget, and don't leave loose ends alive. Each theory digs the hole deeper. Each rumor adds another twist to the web of violence and betrayal that seems to follow Tekashi wherever he goes.
Right, Lisa, the woman was found inside the car here along the Cross County Parkway just before exit 7, which is Broad Street. That's just where we are. So Westchester County Police still has, they started getting phone calls Sunday morning around 8 o'clock about a disabled car that was on this side of the parkway. Officers arrived to find a woman behind the wheel of the car.
New York's nightlife has always been painted in neon light and bubbly drinks, but beneath the velvet ropes and curated glamour lies a world as sharp as broken glass. Ariella thrives in it, bartending at hotspots like Econ, posing with celebrities, rubbing shoulders with hustlers who blurred the line between entrepreneur and enforcer. In that scene, every table deal and whispered conversation carried weight. People flashed money, but what they were really flashing was power. And power attracts predators. For someone like Ariella, caught between visibility as an influencer and proximity to Tekashi's infamous circle, the club wasn't just a workplace, it was a chessboard where one wrong alliance could tip the game fatally out of balance. Could her shifts behind the bar have introduced her to the very people who later decided she had to be silenced?
And now to that upsetting discovery on a local parkway. A woman found car in Westchester. News 12's Lisa LaRocca is in Mount Vernon Forest.
What makes Ariella's story even more unsettling is the long shadow over her final hours. We know she clocked out of her shift at Icon, New York late that night, a place where she was adored by regulars and respected by staff. But after she stepped out into the humid Manhattan air, the timeline fractures into guesswork. Some say she left alone. Others insist she was seen leaving in the company of a man whose face remains a mystery. Surveillance cameras outside the lounge reportedly caught her car pulling away just after 3 a.m., but the next few hours remain a fog, where every missing detail feels like it could unlock the motive behind her tragic end. Investigators have been combing through digital breadcrumbs, but so far, little has surfaced in public. Friends of Ariella insist her phone had been unusually active that night, with unanswered calls and messages that stopped suddenly around dawn. Was she arranging to meet someone? Was she being lured into a setup? The abrupt silence feels damning, as though someone deliberately cut the line between her and the outside world just before striking. In these gaps, the most chilling questions emerge. Who had her attention in those crucial hours, and why has nobody stepped forward to fill the silence?
I don't know what happened. I know it's foul, and whoever did it, y'all bogus, man. Y'all bogus, man. That beautiful young lady like that, man. This world just getting to a whole nother level. It's just getting out of control, gang. Y'all sick.
Adding to the unease are reports of passing motorists who claim they saw her vehicle parked briefly at a rest stop north of the city before it was discovered on the parkway. That pause, if it happened, could mean she met with someone, or it could have been a desperate attempt to shake a tail she sensed behind her. Without confirmation, it lingers as a ghost detail, an eerie placeholder in the story that refuses to settle into clarity. Each unverified sighting adds another layer of suspense, feeding the belief that Ariella was not simply driving home that night, but moving along a path carefully staged by someone else. The investigators' decision to keep surveillance findings under wraps only sharpens the mystery. We know cameras were present in and around Icon as well as along major highways leading toward Westchester, yet no public images have been released. Was the footage too inconclusive to help? Or was it too revealing, perhaps showing Ariella with someone authorities don't yet want to name? The secrecy fuels speculation that her final hours were anything but ordinary. Every withheld frame of video makes the public wonder if the real story is more explosive than officials are willing to admit.
Like, what is y'all doing, man? I understand whatever he did, like I always say, man, get your man. Get your man, get your man, get your man. If y'all looking for 6ix9ine, if y'all thought that was revenge, that definitely some revenge to hurt him. But that ain't no real man. That ain't no standing no business ass nothing, or whoever did that, or whatever y'all got going on. I don't.
Then there are the whispers about a cryptic call made from her phone shortly after leaving work, allegedly to a number not listed in her regular contacts. Some claim it lasted less than a minute, cut short before any trace could be left behind. That one detail, if true, suggests she was in communication with someone outside her circle, perhaps arranging a meeting or responding to a summons she couldn't ignore. It raises the frightening possibility that Ariela's end was sealed not in the glare of the club's neon lights, but in the quiet ring of a phone as she stepped into the night. All these fragments, the surveillance gaps, the ghostly witnesses, the sudden silence of her phone, paint a picture of a woman stepping unknowingly into a trap. We're left staring at the eerie outline of a timeline that doesn't add up, where the missing pieces feel more telling than the ones we have. Her work that night was routine, but what happened after she left Icon suggests anything but. It's in those unanswered questions, the shadowy figures who may have followed her, and the silences on her call log that the mystery of Ariela's final hours refuses to fade.
So 6ix9ine was telling. He was hanging out with these cops before they even went. Like he was telling, the drivers telling on him, everybody's telling on each other, right? So he's sitting there. You know, that's the biggest excuse. That's what Nicky Barnes, back in the day, he was on the cover of Times. He told, because his man was with his wife. He was saying he was with my wife. But then again, he told on 100 guys.
Because let's be clear, New York's club circuit is more than bottle girls and Instagram lives. It's the playground for entertainers, politicians, athletes, and shadow players who pull strings behind the scenes. Cash flows fast, alliances form and dissolve in hours, and gossip moves faster than drinks. Ariela's presence there, beautiful and magnetic, made her a fixture, but also made her vulnerable. As whispers of cartel influence leak into the story, we have to ask, did she cross paths with people Tekashi had already enraged? Or worse, was she unknowingly positioned as a bargaining chip, a symbol that even his so-called family could be reached?
We lost the code in hip-hop. Now, is it played out? I watch other podcasts like, yo, that don't matter no more, this, that. Does it not matter no more? And I believe 6ix9ine, when he told, he gave guys 20 years in jail. All the guys he was like, oh, but he my wife. Oh, but he did. That means nothing.
And that brings us to Tekashi himself, the self-proclaimed king of chaos. His career was built on provocation. From the moment he stormed into the industry with rainbow hair and violent lyrics, he seemed determined to antagonize everyone in his path. He picked fights with rappers, taunted entire cities, and when his 9 Trey gang ties caught up with him, he shocked the world by testifying in court. That single decision, applauded by some as survival and condemned by others as betrayal, has shadowed him ever since. He bought his freedom with words, but the cost was permanent enemies, Aurelia's tragedy. Maybe the receipt finally coming due. Was this the warning shot his rivals had been waiting to send? It's hard to forget the court files that named Tekashi as a central witness against his old crew. Those transcripts are still out there, and the people he helped convict are still part of conversations in corners he can't reach. Every new feud he sparks online only refreshes the grudge list. Recently, he admitted in court to possession of illegal substances. Another headline in a long line of legal troubles that paint him as reckless and untouchable. But the streets don't forget. And if his circle is shrinking, then Ariella might have been the easiest way for enemies to remind him that invincibility is only an illusion.
The day 6ix9ine sat on that stand. No!
Man.
You remember, if you're watching the story, they taking him to court in bulletproof vests. They acted like he was telling on El Chapo. He put a lot of good people in jail, man.
Consider the timing. Ariella had just been working a shift, surrounded by the same nightlife environment Tekashi has turned into both a stage and a battlefield. Hours later, she was gone, leaving investigators certain it was no accident. Doesn't that sound like a message written in bold? Even his harshest critics admit Tekashi thrives on the narrative that everyone is against him. But what happens when the story stops being internet trolling and starts leaving bodies in real cars on real highways? This is the escalation nobody wanted to believe could happen. The trolling bleeding into tragedy, the clout wars becoming lethal.
Yo, what's the event in hip-hop that broke the camel's back? Pause. To make it to where you could snitch. And if you make good music or something, you could still live out here in hip hop. Like what was the straw that broke the camel's back in hip hop, where we had a code and there is no code no more?
And let's not forget how Tekashi's reputation has aged. In recent years, his music releases have been met with more ridicule than applause. His new tracks Hannah and Papa were mocked online, with fans writing blunt comments like no thanks. When the music loses its power, controversy becomes the only currency left. That creates a dangerous spiral. The need to stay relevant by stirring conflict, even as those conflicts open doors for revenge. Ariella may not have been targeted for who she was, but for what she represented. The soft spot in the armor of a man who has built his life on daring others to strike back.
There's no such thing as a credible rat. But sending the bull shoot the out.
He told on 6ix9ine.
They set him up though, they altered the tapes.
The image of Tekashi mourning on Instagram, calling her the Queen of New York, only adds fuel to the speculation. If he truly saw her as family, then whoever orchestrated this attack knew exactly where to hurt him most. Was it a rival artist he clowned online, someone from the 9 Train network still simmering, or a cartel faction aiming to prove their reach? Every possibility ties back to one conclusion: Tekashi's orbit is a dangerous place to stand, and Ariella may have been the latest proof of that. We're left with a chilling realization. Ariella's tragedy isn't just about her own story. It's about the price of being close to a man who has spent years dancing on the edge of destruction. Tekashi built his fame by convincing the world he could troll anyone and walk away untouched. But every new feud, every courtroom confession, every mocking laugh aimed at his rivals piles weight onto a ticking time bomb. Ariella's loss feels like the first crack in the casing. The only question left is, when that bomb goes off again, who will be caught in the crossfire next? Tell us what you think in the comments, and as always, stay safe out there. Until next time, this is where we leave you, with heavy hearts and eyes wide open.